Hello everyone, welcome to the KZGN News. Today we're bringing you news about another terror attack, news of another visitor to China Lake, Blue Jacket of the Year winners, a notice from the Ridgecrest Police Department, today's KZGN Talking Points editorial, weather, sports, and much more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News Crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Whitnick. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. Well, the big news today is news of yet another terror attack. The attack took place in Brussels, Belgium. At least 34 people have been killed and hundreds injured. There were two separate bomb attacks. One was at Brussels Airport and another was at a metro subway station. Reports are that there were two blasts at the airport and one blast at the subway station. This was a well-planned and coordinated attack. Videos showed people running all directions from the points of the explosions. These attacks come just 2 days after Brussels police arrested one of the conspirators of the French terror attack. Belgian officials say they have no doubt as to who was behind the attacks. ISIS is the probable attacker. Belgian officials have also recently expressed concerns about the growing problem of ISIS fighters coming into Europe as Syrian refugees. There are increasing calls of Europeans to stop the refugee flow into Europe, as they have no common standards for letting these people into Europe. And once they are in Europe, with a visa, they can then travel freely throughout Europe. One news source reported this morning that ISIS has made a declaration that they have annexed Europe into the Islamic State and have ordered their followers in Europe to rise up now and take control of these governments. So now it is clear what some pundits were predicting a little while ago. ISIS's long-range plans were to control the Middle East, then get control of Europe, and finally the United States. These attacks and the declarations of ISIS has already provided new determination of the move to stop refugee movement into the U.S. Until we can put in place a dependable screening system, that is. A system thorough enough that will catch any potential ISIS fighters from entering the country. And they do this under the cover of a refugee looking for asylum. This is sure to spill over into the presidential election campaigns. In those campaigns, we have two Democrats that just want to open our borders up to any and all that want to come in the country with absolutely no concern that the current administration has top officials saying they do not have the capability to fully screen these refugees. Then there are the two top Republican candidates that do believe we need to pause, not totally stop, but pause the influx of refugees from certain parts of the world until our officials can establish a thorough screening system. The single most important obligation of the president is to make sure we are safe in our country. And that includes making sure no terrorists get access to our country under the guise of refugee status. So, this shows the 180-degree difference between the Democrats and Republicans. Anyway, the attacks in Brussels, Belgium this morning has at least 34 people killed and hundreds injured. I'm sure the numbers will be going up. News from the Naval Air Warfare Center Weapons Division at China Lake, we get this report. Tony Torres Ramos from the Office of Civilian Human Resource Director in Washington and Lisa Mott, Career Program Manager for OCHR in San Diego, California, came to study the features of a quadcopter during their visit to Naval Air Warfare Center Weapons Division, China Lake, on March 16th. A quadcopter demonstration took place at the Naval Air Warfare Center Weapons Division Autonomy Lab during Senior Executive Service members Tony Torres Ramos' visit. Torres Ramos was accompanied by Richard Craycraft, NOC-WD Human Resource Director, and Autonomy team members Reed Robeson and Mark DeBoard. The impressive demonstration was well received by the visitors. This is yet another visit by high-level DoD officials, all coming and looking at China Lake. In more news from China Lake, we get the report that the Blue Jacket of the Year Awards dinner was held last weekend. The dinner was hosted by the Indian Wells Valley Navy Council of the Navy League. The dinner was held last Saturday. This year's winners were Hospital Corpsman First Class Jared Chris and Construction Electrician Second Class Rodney Lively. They were named Senior and Junior Blue Jackets of the Year. The dinner was hosted by retired China Lake Captain Mark Storch. NUC WD Commander Rear Admiral Corey was the keynote speaker. What a grand event it was. Our congratulations goes out to these two fine sailors. Well done, guys. Now here's a report from KZGN-TV field reporter Tanya Pyle. She reports that the Ridgecrest Republican women responded to questions by Judge Corey Woodward at their March luncheon last Friday. Woodward questioned as to whether anyone remembered a bad experience serving as a jurist. Among the 25 to 30 people present, only one responded. She was asked to speak about her unfavorable experience. No one was asked to speak about their positive experience, but left someone in tell of the honor it is to serve on a jury where Americans work within the process to render a just and fair verdict. Woodward praised Ridgecrest residents for their ready response to participate in the process. He said, "Here, plenty show in Ridgecrest," Woodward said. In comparison to find a jury in Mojave, Woodward said of 100 summons sent out, 35 show up. It's an ongoing challenge for each attorney. Woodward says citizens are required to participate as jurors, but for a legal reason. Woodward cited legal reasons one can cite for not serving as a juror, or legal reasons one might be excluded from serving as a juror are anyone under 18 years of age, any non-citizen, a peace officer is disqualified from criminal cases, an ex-felon, a claim to not understand English, travel required of more than an hour and a half to the court, substantial financial burden. Woodward said an employer doesn't have to pay for the jury duty, but also said an employee doesn't have to pay the employer. Well, another reason is also having a physical or mental disability is a legal reason one can claim to not serve as a juror, as well as caring for a dependent. Woodward distinguished legal reasons for not being excluded from the jury from peremptory challenges as to serving as a jurist. Peremptory challenges are raised by a lawyer for any reason that could include race, gender, knowing the witnesses, or personal knowledge of the crime location. Woodward discussed the ongoing challenges of not discussing deliberations in an era where growing forms of media come into play, such as social blogging and other things. Woodward said, "Plenty show for jury duty in Ridgecrest," and said, "There is enough for a fair jury." Woodward is running for re-election in the judge seat in eastern Kern County. Thanks for the report, Tanya. In a notice from the Ridgecrest Police Department, they want to remind anyone with an alarm system that an alarm permit is required from the city. If you have an alarm at your business or residence in Ridgecrest, according to the Ridgecrest Municipal Code, a city alarm permit is required. This requirement is primarily a safety issue for both the business and the resident, as well as for the police officers that respond. The permit is required, so when a police officer does respond, the police department has updated points of contact to call in the event of an alarm, as well as any special circumstances the officers may need to know about the business or residents when they arrive. Helpful information covers pets, special needs, hazardous material, or any other special circumstances that would help the response. To obtain your permit, visit the police department and fill out a short form with your contact information and pay a nominal fee of only $20. The permit is good for 1 year from the date of issue. Alarm permits must be renewed every year. If, however, you do not get your permit or renew it and the police responds to your alarm, the business owner, manager, or resident of the property may be issued a citation. So if you have an alarm system, please get the necessary city permit. Now stay with us. After the break, we'll have the KZGN Talking Points editorial. Thanks for staying with us. Now it's time for the 128th KZGN News Talking Points editorial. Here's today's topic. Did you get a chance to watch and read Facebook discussion from my last editorial titled, "Did you notice Mexican flags being waved at the Chicago protest last week?" Well, this editorial led to so many comments and discussions, I felt it was worth covering both sides of the issue again. But I have to applaud every commenter on one thing. Not one person threw the bigot or racist insult. Not one. I was sure that someone would throw that bomb, but no one did. With over 90 comments and at least 62 people reading the blog, that was great. To that I commend the commenters to keeping it a discussion about the issue without personal slander. While many side issues were brought up, some stuck to the issue. My displeasure is people waving another country's flag while protesting against the U.S. My main point to these protesters is that they will not get any action on their concerns without some support from independents and conservatives, and that by waving a foreign flag under protest in the U.S. will not gain the support they'll need to be sympathetic to their cause. There are not enough liberals to accomplish their cause. They need support from moderates. True conservatives will not likely support most of their causes, but as I expected, some commenters went the course to argue that the First Amendment allows this. I had already acknowledged this First Amendment right in my editorial. However, some thought that I didn't. Some criticized me for not showing the same displeasure of foreign flags being waved over celebratory events all around the country. Again, I had to answer that those flags were not being waved under protest to the U.S. They were being waved in a celebratory manner that celebrates the diversity of the country, not waving a foreign flag in a manner that sets itself above or against the U.S. Some just don't see the difference, but then there are some that just want to argue with me about anything, rather than allow me my right to my opinion. There are a couple commenters that if we were standing side by side outside looking at a blue sky and there could be one cloud floating by, I would probably say we have a beautiful blue sky today. And he would probably disagree and say, no we don't, it's partly cloudy. Just to disagree with me. And then after I might acknowledge that there was a cloud in the sky, one commenter would come back with, Tom has finally admitted he was wrong. There was a cloud in the sky. I find this hanging on words most fascinating. Rather than focusing on the topic, some choose to hang on whether something was said grammatically correct or a different word should have been used, whether there was evidence to back up a particular opinion. Oops, I seem to have drifted off topic. Sorry. Again, there is no dispute that these protesters have the right to wave any flag they want. They even have the right to disrespect the American flag. Is that clear for everyone now? Again, I agree the First Amendment allows them to wave any flag. But the First Amendment also allows me to have the opinion that this conduct offends me. And it often offends a lot of conservatives and moderates that hold the flag as an important symbol of the country. One flag should fly over this country. The First Amendment allows me to voice that displeasure. But now the main point of the editorial. To these protesters, you will not gain support from moderates and some conservatives when you disrespect the symbol of this great country. Waving a flag of any other country while protesting against the U.S. will not gain you sympathy for your cause. If you waved the American flag, you would probably gain some moderate support. If you showed respect for other differing opinions on the issue, you might gain some moderate support. If you didn't try and shut down the opposing views, you might gain some moderate support. The opposition has the same First Amendment right as you do. They have the right to their opinions, just as you do. Another point to people now sympathetic to the protesters, would there be a single punch thrown at a Trump rally if there wasn't a protester there trying to shut down Trump and the attendees' First Amendment right to hear a speech from the person they choose to come to listen to? Many of these people waiting for hours to get into the hall, and that all they want is a free environment to hear the speech? And then we have the liberal-leaning news pundits encouraging these protests, instead blaming Trump for their encouraging clashes. Yes, these people might have the right to protest. 100% they have the right, but their right does not trump the rights of others with the same right. Both sides of the issue are permitted to voice their opinions. I concluded the editorial with this conclusion. Hey protesters and liberals, keep waving Mexican flags at your protest. That will inspire conservatives to never be sympathetic to your cause. You'll never win conservative support while waving a Mexican flag. I have to add to that, most moderates shut off to that disrespect as well. So thanks again to all the commenters in the blog. Thanks for not dropping the bigot or racist bombs. The editorial was pure and no racism or bigotry was to be inferred. Only respect for America and the main symbol of America. That only one flag should be flown over the land. There is a proper way to protest with the flag, the American flag. Read the book on flag etiquette. Is that too much to ask? In conclusion, remember, the civil rights movement was started and put in place by Republicans, not Democrats. Martin Luther King said it well when he said he looked forward to the day when people are not judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character, that all men are created equal. He respected the country to make the change needed. What is missing today is that respect for and the acceptance of the American way of life. Attention protesters, keep waving another country flag while protesting, and you'll guarantee failure to accomplish the change. I'm Tom Whitnick, and that's what I think. I'd like to know what you think. If you have any comments about this editorial or would like to discuss or recommend a topic, I'd like to hear from you. Please email them to info@kzgn.net. Thanks for staying with us. Now here's Lane with the weather.
Thank you, Tom. From the National Weather Service, a series of low-pressure systems will bring heavy mountain snowfall over portions of the west coast and Intermountain West. Snow will also spread east across the plains, upper Midwest, and upper Great Lakes region by Wednesday and Thursday. Further south, very dry and windy conditions will lead to critical fire weather over much of the southwest U.S. on Tuesday. Temperatures across the nation. Carolinas at 58, Georgia at 62, Arkansas at 67, northern Texas at 77, Arizona at 78, and Los Angeles at 67. And for us locally, tonight, mostly clear with a low around 40, southwest wind 15 to 20 miles per hour, with gusts as high as 25. Wednesday, sunny with a high near 69, east-northeast wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Wednesday night, clear with a low around 40, east wind 5 to 10 miles per hour. Thursday, sunny with a high near 76, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Thursday night, clear with a low around 45, west-southwest wind 5 miles per hour. Friday, sunny with a high near 80, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Friday night, clear with a low around 47, southwest wind 5 to 15 miles per hour. And Saturday, sunny with a high near 76, north-northeast wind 5 to 10 miles per hour, with gusts as high as 30. And that is your forecast for the IWV. Now back to Tom.
So that's the news for today. All of the KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only locally owned community TV station. Now stay tuned for Ridgecrest Talk, coming up next.